Absolutely. Absolutely. I hope I'm audible now. I'm pretty fine.
Yes.
I guess. Yeah. All right. So, Ravi, how do we start this? You wanna intro yourself a bit?
Yep.
I know your story, but then just do it. Just do it for me.
So I'm Dravya. I am a product builder at heart, and that's what I do. So, um, product building has led me to sell two of my startups before, and now I'm just contributing to open source, just making projects, learning in public, building in public, and that's what I love doing. And I'm also interning at Cloudflare right now.
Ah, sweet. Oh, how did the? Oh, okay. Let me intro myself first. Then, hey guys, I'm Kavir Asani, and I've been in the tech space for the past 5 years professionally, and then another 5 years through college and all of that. So I've been working, building, primarily a maker at heart, as Dravya said it. So yeah, so primarily doing that for the past 10 years or so. We have been doing a lot of interesting things, worked in a lot of early age startups, and then now working on my own. I have started a startup of my own. It's called AI Shots. You guys should check out the app. It's available on Android at the moment. It's gonna come live soon on iOS and website soon. Yeah. So Dravya, I just want to ask you, how did the open source thing start?
So basically, when I was building my first Discord bot that was open source, just because I wanted to share the code to my friends, and I had
Acha.
nothing to hide. But then that led me into the rabbit hole of finding out like some open source projects like Pterodactyl. Pterodactyl was like
Okay.
this hosting software that we use at Epic Host. And then my mind was blown. Like someone has made this extremely complex thing, and they have given me every setup thing, every documentation to use it, and now that's making my business work. So then I was like, dude, I need to do this too. I need to change some lives as well.
Sweet. So, what is the kind of licenses you were using at that time, and what are the kind of licenses you use now?
I've just done MIT and Apache.
Oh, that's easiest one.
Yeah,
Like, don't think really about it. Yeah, MIT is a good license for open source.
yeah,
But if you want to be, so there is this extension of open source called FOSS that is free and open source,
I know.
which is started by Richard Stallman as a movement, and now it is a pretty big thing. I was part of the group also. I continue to be the part of the group in Karnataka,
Mm-hmm.
India, Karnataka. I'm part of the FSMK group, so that is Free Software Movement in Karnataka,
Mm-hmm.
and through that we do a lot of interesting Linux installations, GNU Linux installations
Oh wow.
from time to time. We do a lot of interesting things on that front.
Very
Probably I'll
interesting.
be, yeah, I might probably be doing a session through that organization sometime soon as well in my college.
Wow.
So, yeah, the fun part is I have met Richard Stallman through this organization. Literally met
Damn.
the guy who has written LS, the guy who has probably written cat also, the cat command, the LS command, and
Yeah.
all that. I had the opportunity to look at him straight into his eyes and talk to him and say thank you.
Wow, that
That's
is
all I can really
amazing.
say. That was really fun. Yeah, so he was in India for some time and then he came to our camp. So we had a camp every month. There's a camp from February to March
Mm-hmm.
that Peace of Movement India conducts. I was part of the camp and then he had come, so I met him and it's like blown away. It's
Damn.
like, wow, this is a guy. This is a guy on which all of this behemoth things are built on.
Yeah.
Super, super. So yeah, that's one thing. So what else is going on?
Um. Okay. So have you heard about Starship?
Starship, Elon's Starship, yeah. Who
Yeah.
hasn't heard about it?
Dude, it's crazy. So for everyone who doesn't know, so I'll just pull up the news as well. And so basically, Starship is like the biggest and like the best rocket made by humanity so far.
Mm-hmm.
Not in the sense that okay, it has a lot of engines and it can take a lot of fuel and it can do stuff like that, but because it lands both the first stage and second stage of the rocket. Now, now that is a bigger deal than you think it is, because landing from lower Earth orbit or higher Earth orbit is like there's so much, there's so much heat that they have to resist. There's so much, everything that falls from there just turns into dust. And that's how actually they dispose satellites that way. They just throw it into the atmosphere because they know that it's gonna turn into dust.
Well,
So, Starship's goal was to be reusable, sustainable, and at the same time, like take humanity to Mars, right? Because
right.
only if it is reusable can it do all that. Because it would be too expensive. Right now, we are throwing all rockets away, especially the second stage. We're either throwing them away or we are keeping in like the higher Earth orbit. It's called the dead zone for satellites and rockets. So
Yeah,
this
well, we
is
have a lot of space junk. Yeah.
yeah, so this is crazy because it can like because it is also like reusable and the way it's built, it can also be refueled in space. So like this is probably the rocket that's gonna take us like to Mars and to Moon. Artemis mission. So NASA
Mm-hmm.
gave SpaceX like $2 billion to fund like Starship development because they are
Wow.
gonna use Starship in Artemis as well. So the NASA Moon mission that gonna take
Mhm.
humans back to the moon.
When is that going to happen?
So they say it's supposed to happen like 2032.
2030, 2032.
Yeah,
Okay.
so not like
Another 8 years. Huh.
yeah.
Hmm. The fun part is, I feel, okay, so compare this to Apollo missions and all that, which actually exceeded the kind of deadlines they had, and they were able to perform better than those deadlines. And now I feel we have been, they're not really aiming for the quick thing. Maybe
Yeah.
because maybe because it's the amount of safety concerns that we have nowadays is a little gone up. Maybe back in the day it was more like all of these astronauts are really like the soldiers will just go and sacrifice their life. Maybe now that is not the kind of sentiment that we're seeing because people want to bring people back. I feel
No,
that's what it is.
I think the difference this time is that last time it was a political thing to just get people to the moon and just step there, right?
There was a race going on. Ha, ha, ha.
Yeah, it was called a space race. But this time, the Artemis says we want to go to the moon and stay. So like,
Hmm.
they want
Set
huge
up.
payloads on the moon. They want to set like no proper bases on the moon. And
Fair, fair.
like you know how there's research camps in like Antarctica, they want stuff like that on the moon.
Sweet. But I still feel they should probably just start sending a lot of, at least just for a trial run, send a couple of humans first, just to show that it's now still possible and then we still have it in us. Because it's been what, 40, 50 years since the last moon mission, I believe.
Yeah.
Right? So 60s is when all of this happened. And it hasn't happened since. Just for the sake of a statement, because see, at the end of the day, we are all humans, right? So we need that North Star, and I think that somebody going on the moon again at this time, doing a live, I don't know, this kind of a live Instagram, something that can really fire up people and make them go for it much more
Hmm.
with an urgency that we are not seeing at the moment.
Yeah.
Because I know, right? Because Elon is somebody who's always urgent. Okay, he's somebody who promises extremely optimistic deadlines. Okay, but considering Elon, 32 is quite far. He should probably be telling it next year we're gonna be going to the moon.
Yeah. So Starship will be ready. Starship is already ready in like
Right.
because they did this test, right? So I'll tell you about this test. It's crazy. So
Mm-hmm.
this was so earlier. SpaceX
Mm-hmm.
had done like the first stage, the second stage test. Like they only launched the second stage to as high as possible and land it. And that was not
Mm-hmm.
that big of a deal because they have been doing the normal landings like from not from orbit but from really high Earth atmosphere for Falcon 9 already. And
Mm-hmm.
like not to say the landing is a small thing. Like landing, SpaceX is the only company that actually can land rockets. Um,
Wow.
and dude, it's crazy because it's like throwing a pencil from a mountain and it landing on like a rubber that you aimed at.
Mm-hmm.
uh, so, like, they have probably the best landing tech and stuff. But landing from space is a completely different thing because then you have to resist the heat. And the
Heat in space?
no, so like when coming back, there's so much friction that
Mm-hmm.
you cannot like when in orbit it's pretty cold, right? But then when you
Yeah.
come back, to the earth.
The pressure temperatures are, yeah, the temperatures are dramatically different in small instances of time. So there's a lot
Exactly.
of compression and expansion going on, right?
Exactly. I want to show
Ah,
you
ah, ah.
something cool. So I'm
Okay,
just so, oh my god. I really want to show this, but I don't know if I can find it, which is sad. Um, let's go to
SpaceX
Google.
Starship meeting but held on first. Yeah, somebody asks, can you share more info about how someone can earn and learn without getting bored with day-to-day office work?
Um, do
Want
you
to
have
take that
anything to
question?
say there?
Can you share more info about how someone can earn and learn without getting bored with day-to-day office work? I just feel you have to become this person who makes projects for the sake of it. Like, just make stupidest projects. It really doesn't matter. You don't have to make the next, like, we are talking about the space thing, right? You don't have to make the next Starship. Something stupid like a picture of a Starship that you can make interesting pictures of Starship. Maybe a website which can make different skins on the Starship. It's a stupid idea, but this will get you started on creating stuff which is fun, because right now I think a lot of tech is logical and we have to make it more creative and liberal arts kind of a thing, and that's when you start enjoying it a lot more. Yeah, that's a cool idea, man. I'll probably make this if nobody's making this. Starship skins. Like, this is just a Starship rocket. Pick whichever you want and just choose and just post it on your thing or something like that. It's like an interesting thing.
So, dude,
Sweet.
like for me, it's all been about like shipping stuff, random stuff. Like most of my projects are really small that I built like in a couple hours, but they are the ones that always blow up. Like I literally posted a video of me building an app in 10 minutes, and that blew
Yeah.
up. Like it's just the most unexpected things.
I know, right? I think there is a book called Built in Public. No, no. I think it's called Show Your Work by Austin Klein. I'm not sure if you've read it or
Right,
what. And it really talks about how it's not about building the product as much as it's about building your own character through building a product in front of people,
right.
because then you learn the art of selling your product, talking about your product in a manner that is appealing and all of that. So probably that's how you need to start. You just do it. You don't It's okay, you can fail. Make
Right.
that as an aim of the whole thing. You want to fail this product in front of people, and that's going to build a lot of confidence in you, man, to make it
Yeah.
all in. Right. So you were showing something, na, Dravya? What was it?
I was trying to shoot like I wrote this thing like 5 years ago from today. Like I
Oh,
wrote this
wow.
thing about Starship, and that still holds
Your
true.
prediction.
So I really wanted to show that.
Wow.
I'm like that big of a
Go
fan.
ahead.
Like okay,
Sweet.
I think I found it. There we go.
Show it. Show it. Show it. Show it. So was it a prediction sort of thing or what?
It was not a prediction or anything. It was like
Just a fanboy writing about Starship.
yeah, it was just me writing about Starship. Um, view. Okay, I'll also stream your
Your ATM school.
how Starship will change the world. Wait, you see this?
Yeah. Yeah, Sushant.
It was 2024, 2020, and this was
Sorry.
like when they were just doing the Starship stuff,
They're just getting started in. This was just 2020s when they started releasing pictures of how big this is going to be and all of that, right?
Yes, that's right. So this is the SN8 prototype.
Mm.
So I've been following it since long before that.
Mm. I started looking into Elon's life in general when I first came across Iron Man's. I think Iron Man 1. When was it launched? Long back, right?
Yeah,
The first Iron Man series, and when I got to know that was that the whole Iron Man character was on the basis of Elon, I was super. I really like Iron Man from Marvel, so I was like, who is this person from whom this character is being inspired from? And I started looking into it, and I was like, wow, this guy is beyond what we can even imagine.
yeah,
And from there onwards, I started looking into this whole, the Falcon rockets was a big thing.
right,
Yeah, I was in college at that time, I believe. The Falcon rockets was quite a furore. It was like, wow.
right.
Did something nobody had done, so that was cool. And now with Starship is again doing something that nobody has done. So
Yeah.
it's really good. Right. So hey, I just want to see if there's so what else do we have to talk about today? Um, Starship is cool. I'll just pull up some. I'll pull up some AI news because hey, while I do that, na, just tell us why we named it Super AI.
Right. So we figured that everything we could work on would always be about AI, because I'm building an AI product and this guy is also building an AI product. So
So we are deeply connected
at the
to
same
AI.
time, I'm working on like my it's my job to be at AI. I'm like working on workers AI right now. So like even in my internship, it is like an AI internship. So we cannot escape. The entire world is just consumed by it. So
Yes, you have to stay. Yes, you have to stay. Yeah. I was just pulling up some news here, and one of the things that has happened recently is Nvidia surpassing Apple in valuation.
that's
Now
crazy.
it is gone beyond $3 trillion at this point. This is insane, insane.
Do you think it
This,
deserves it though? Is the real question.
this does it deserve that? Hmm, that's an interesting question. Actually, I need to really think about it.
Because do you think Nvidia as a company is really like bigger than Apple? Like, does it make sense? Because Apple is in everyone's, like, I'm streaming on an Apple device. I'm like, there's
Absolutely,
an
yeah.
Apple device here. There's two more Apple devices here. There's my watch, my
Sure,
AirPods,
yeah. No,
everything.
I think more on the lines of think about it like this. Apple is more consumer facing, right? But if it's more like if you were to value Linux today, okay, Linux is obviously open source and all of that. But if you want to value Linux against Apple, I'm pretty sure Linux is going to get a far bigger valuation than Apple can ever even touch.
Right,
Right? Simply because Linux is powering everything in the world.
right,
And that's what is happening with Nvidia is because everything AI today is somehow going through the GPUs of Nvidia only,
right.
right? So I think from that angle, if you start looking at it from the angle of the back end story, then I
Hmm.
think it kind of deserves it. But I think the bull run really was too strong. It happened too fast. The
Hmm.
rally really happened too fast. That is something I'm concerned about because it was probably just being operated. But yeah, so this is not any kind of advice, guys. Don't buy anything because we are talking about it.
It's
Not
just
financial advice by any chance. This is a disclaimer. This is not financial advice. It's just us talking about what we feel. Okay.
I think
Right.
honestly
Yeah.
it's like a bubble. So unfortunately,
Yeah.
like it is
It-
it is definitely a bubble.
because I want to believe in Apple's story because it rallied well, right? It rallied into the normal rate, but Nvidia just shot up. That was a
Yeah,
little insane. That kind of valuation does not happen overnight,
yeah,
and it happened here. So that's little concerning. But Nvidia as such is laying the foundation for the next big things in AI. So probably all of that 3 trillion is on the basis of what's going to happen in future.
right,
But all of the 3 trillion for Apple is more on the lines of what has happened so far.
right.
Because at the moment, there's not much we can look for Apple, right? Because they're probably lagging in the AI race at the moment, I believe.
Makes sense.
Right? They have to use OpenAI to release their next Siri launch or something like that.
Right.
So maybe most of the valuation Apple is getting is past, and most of the valuation Nvidia is getting in the future.
I think where Nvidia shines is its software, like that's CUDA, like everything,
Yeah,
right?
the CUDA. Yeah.
Multi-processing
I
and
have you
parallelization and
tried anything in CUDA?
no, dude, I am not that
I have,
smart.
I have, I have the C plus this only, but then it's so fun. Is when you run it, and I had the good fortune of having an Nvidia graphic card and all of that, so I was able to do CUDA
Wow.
programming. And man, I was blown. I really liked it because it's very different from what we do. The language is the same thing, but it's still you have to look at it from a different perspective altogether.
Yeah.
So very interesting. CUDA is fun. CUDA is fun. What else is happening? What else is happening? Humane is trying to sell. Humane is trying to sell
Ooh.
to HP. The Humane pin wala thing, right? They had a pin and all that, and it was started by ex-Apple employees or something like
Right,
that.
right. What do you think about like the state of AI wearables right now? Like,
I don't think they need. I don't think there's a need for it. Not on the way that is being made at the moment, you really don't need a rabbit kind of a product at the moment, because that is just an app on your phone. I can't see it can be a great collector's product. matlab, it looks cool and all of that, but I don't think it can realistically replace a phone, and it does not have that kind of a delta to what
Right.
phone can do and what it can do. I don't think at the moment it has. Someday, maybe if you can, glasses is something. Wearable AI, wearable glasses is a big thing. That tech I'm really optimistic about, because that is Delta, that is Delta 4 and beyond. That's really going to make a difference.
Like,
But not holding in your hand again. Not something that you have to use your hands again for.
no, like people make pendants, right? But my question is, why are you making extra stuff? Why not just integrate it into the existing stuff? Like, why does my watch not have AI already? Like,
Yeah,
my watch is an AI wearable, right? It has all the compute, it
exactly.
has everything.
I think they're doing it wrong by trying to reinvent things, whereas they have to just figure out how to put all of this tech into the existing things that we use anyways.
Yeah,
Watch is a great example. Specs is a great example.
yeah,
And that's earphones. Probably I'm again optimistic about, because yeah,
right.
earphones sound interesting, but that's more audio-like. So
Hmm.
maybe it does not have as much of an use case as maybe a glass has or something like
I think
that.
AI variables is the new crypto in terms of
Yeah,
the VP money. Like they raise a bunch of
right.
money and then they like build a lot of
Hmm.
hype and then they try to sell. It's like literally like
That's so easy to look through, right? Because man, why would you need a separate device? This is literally like a phone,
yeah,
and want to. The fun part is the same thing. You're calling it differently and feeling that it's something else. That's odd.
yeah,
I,
exactly.
I can't buy into that whole. Uh, so yeah, AR variables. Please do glasses, guys. Whoever is saying, if you guys are into this,
Do watches,
make
do someone make an
glasses,
AI
watches.
watch,
Yeah.
please.
Watch is great, yes. Watches and glasses and earphones. Just concentrate on these three things and power them through AI. That's it.
Like
Don't do anything
honestly,
else.
you don't even need to make your own hardware. Just make a watch app. Literally, that's
Yeah,
all you need.
yeah. That's all you need. Just go rip apart some open source hardware that you have and then put AI on top of it. Hey, you know what? There is a latest thing that has happened. Now you can run AI models on Raspberry Pi or something
I
like
know,
that.
right?
Yeah, so something of that sort. Yeah, it's just a lot of interesting things happening there. Go ahead and do that.
That's like
Don't make
LLM.C.
another rabbit, please. Yeah. You're saying something. Right?
Yeah, so that's basically running models on a CPU. So it's like llama.c. You might have heard of it.
Llama C. Yeah.
Hmm.
That's the Facebook wala, Meta wala.
Yeah, no, so the meta, yeah, so it's like running the open source meta models on a CPU, and it's a big deal because
Ah.
it's like just 1,000 lines of code for doing that, the inference.
But how?
Yeah,
From what I know, most of your AI models need multiple cores because they're doing a lot of parallel computing. Is because I've been looking at a couple of models on Hugging Face, and I feel they do need a good, I don't know what is it called, the GPU chips and all of that.
hmm.
But running it on CPU is like running it through a highway sideline or something that you have a highway but you're not using it.
No, but so how to do it is it's basically matrix multiplication, right?
Uh,
And the idea is that as long as you can do that matrix multiplication, you can do the AI. So
yeah.
you can like instead
Uh,
of doing it using parallel computing, you can queue the multiplications and then you can get the results and like that. Like
but
just
that's going to be so slow.
it is slow, but it
But
works. So
sure. Okay, sure.
and in the sense that it works fast enough for you to not realize that it's not on GPU.
That's interesting.
So that's cool.
That's a difference. Probably this is a very small model then.
It is a pretty
Probably
small
at the
model.
level of Llama Tiny or something like that.
And
Small.
there's also something called quantization. So you might have heard of
Yeah.
it. So quantized models
I've heard.
have so when you do full precision, the number of multiplications to do is like a lot more, right?
Yeah. So
But
it
when you
kind of.
have it quantized, then you have like very less like matrix multiplications to do to get to the last value. And then at the same time, you can have like something like KV cache compression, so that
Okay.
you can like cache parts of it, so that okay, if this is the previous like this is the previous set of tokens, then the next token will definitely be this. So
Sweet.
using all
You,
these techniques, they do like running it on CPU. We are actually trying to do
I'll tell
it.
you, I'll tell you a fun thing. Okay, this is something that I read in my second year engineering, and I'm not even kidding. This is part of our curriculum, and quantization, KV, compression, caching, and all this. This was already there. It was just that people were not believing that this is possible. So this was all there in theory, but not enough people were looking into this. But I think finally we are going, because a lot of what is happening today, even recently I saw uh, a lot of AI breakthroughs are now happening by leveraging the old things that we have already discovered.
Right,
It's not through discovering new things, it's by going back to the old things and figuring out how to make that happen now.
right,
Because now we can make it all happen.
right.
Maybe back in the day we didn't have the compute to do all of that, but now we're able to do it. Yeah.
On a
Okay, the
more
next thing is
philosophical level, like
Mhm.
that is like the value of science fiction writers.
Right. Oh, yeah. I want to talk about this, okay? I think a lot of progress that's happening in the world today is by and large a beneficiary of science fiction.
Right,
Okay, simply because there was somebody imagining all of these things
right,
is why all of this is happening today. And I think this is similarly what Elon also says, because he's a big fan of Hitchhiker's Guide to Galaxy and all of that, right? And he says SpaceX, the whole thing really started because he was a big fan of Hitchhikers, and from there he got the inspiration to do all of these things. And I think really that like all the robotic things, all the AI things are really a beneficiary of all the cool creative shit these guys had written back in the past.
you
Yeah,
know.
we should probably
You know why the Starship's tip is pointy, even though it being pointy is actually worse for aerodynamics and everything?
don't tell me Dictator movie was the
It
reason.
is. That's true,
It
actually.
is, wow.
That's actually true, and he confirmed it.
Wow. No, I think he's just pulling a trick on us, man. I don't think that's the
No,
case.
actually, it's like very. So earlier it was completely pointy. If
Yeah,
you see
this
the,
is round, yeah.
and
Yeah,
now
it had a
it's slightly rounded, and now they're rounding it more. So
yeah. That's funny. He's just pulling some. I think it was good. It's a good marketing stunt for sure. Even if it was not driven for it, I don't know. This is good stuff. Oh, the next up is what else is going on? Meta is coming on AI WhatsApp business. That's boring.
yeah.
That's boring. That's boring. DuckDuckGo launches private AI chats.
Hmm.
Uh, but I'm not really sure how the way they're doing it at the moment is they're gonna collect your queries and then route it through their own accounts. So there is a bit of anonymization, but then how are they gonna handle it legally? I don't know, because all the queries are going through their accounts.
There is no such thing as a private AI chat. So
There is no such thing. Yeah, it's not
unless
kind
you
of
run it locally
there
or
is.
something.
I think there is possible. Yeah, run it locally or maybe use Hugging Face inference APIs and don't pass your tokens. Possible, but not economically viable.
Hmm. What do you think about like local LLMs? Like, do you think so? This is one very philosophical, very fundamental, existential threat to all AI providers, right? That like, if one day everyone just starts running LLMs locally, like I have run like a couple models on the browser, in fact, using one
Right.
GPU. If people do more of that, then what would be the point of having model providing like really good infrastructure for inference and stuff like that?
Maybe. No, I think the role of infrastructure is really to train the models. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
that's where that comes from. But the alternate scenario of this is key. Probably the companies are going to charge for these models. If you want to run them locally, sure, go ahead and do it. But pay us upfront and take it away. Like,
Right.
more so how it happens. There are a couple of like Final Cut Pro or something like that. If you want to use that, you have to pay upfront and then use the product.
Right.
Something like that might end up happening. That would be the business angle of it. But again, man, I don't think local LLMs at the moment they have the their instruction set is small enough for them to viably run locally and achieve the same results that we are seeing today through maybe ChatGPT or something. That
Did you
at
see
the moment,
5.3, Microsoft 5.3? Like for everyone who doesn't know about it, I also
I
know you
have
have.
been covering this. I covered this sometime, but 5.3 has been like a month or two
I know, but people
Yeah.
just don't know about it. Like it's crazy for to me, honestly.
Yeah.
So,
I actually came across 5.3 on the Hugging Face this thing.
hmm. So
Yeah,
this is a
I think
model
it's an
that's
open one.
super duper small. Wait, I'll show on Hugging Face itself. This is a super small model. Like it's so small, like 4K tokens. Like it's so small.
Small.
And this particular version has 128,000 context length. Crazy.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, just imagine. Wow. That's good.
So this is just unbelievably crazy. I'm not even kidding. And the
I
very
think this uses something called as bits or something of that sort.
no,
Yeah, it
so
does something.
they just
Yeah.
they just got like the best chess data in the world, and this model they trained a very small token, this a model. But the main thing is that tokenizer. Like that tokenizer is like very different. Like it has a lot of more
Right.
tokens.
That's what I'm saying. I think it uses. So currently, representing tokens would take a lot of memory, but the way they are representing it is using bits only. They're
Hmm.
not going at the byte level and higher levels. Because I remember covering this sometime back and kind of easily remember that they were doing something on the lines of bits. Maybe just do a search here. You will get something on the lines of like how they're doing it.
That
Bits or
would be
something like
your
that. No bits. No bits.
um.
Okay. Might be something else that might be getting confused. What are you using? How are you searching? What browser is this?
This is Arc.
Ah, the AI powered browser.
Yeah, now it is an AI powered browser, but really it's just a
It
simple
wasn't.
browser. So,
Uh-huh. It wasn't like
so
that always. Somebody was saying that their Apple is probably trying to rival with Arc also because they're launching some kind of models which will make Arc irrelevant on Apple devices.
if you think about it that way, Apple has no reason to compete with Arc. Arc has no market penetration yet. Like it's just the
Uh,
enthusiasts.
no,
But
but then yeah, go ahead.
but Chrome, for example, is also adding a lot of AI features like AI search, sidebar, and
Yeah,
everything. Like all browsers will have it at some point.
but the whole thing, I think this opens up the whole conversation around privacy once again because we thought we had kind of figured out laws around it, and then we are now conversing more openly with all of these models, and all of this data is going through all of this big tech giants. And now this is a privacy nightmare because this is unlike what we had seen so far. So far, we knew what is the kind of query we have to put, and we used to run through our own, what do you say, sensors before putting it on Google.
Right.
But now we're getting a little more comfortable with all of these chatbots and asking a little more, the freaky things.
Right.
And now we're also getting answers, and now they know what is the kind of answers that will, make us feel good and make us feel bad and all of that. Now they have far more data. Now the data is more personal. Previously, it was more. There was still a layer between your absolute personal and your, what you do on the internet. Now I think it's totally blurred.
Yeah.
I'll be damned if somebody sees my ChatGPT questions.
It's very interesting, not because people are willing, like not because it's a privacy issue, but because it's a privacy issue that people are willing to get like go into. Like
Yeah,
everyone
yeah,
wants to give their data. Everyone like is like,
sure.
here, take it. Like give me an answer, and that shows how good the product is, right? If
Yeah,
that something like that
this,
can only happen if the product is that good, and Google had that before.
yeah. I think um, whatever we did on, let's say, social media
Hmm.
so far, it is not even comparable to what we are doing now on all of these places.
Hmm.
And we are willingly doing it. We are not even pulling ourselves away from not doing it. We are okay with it. We are like, we are already doomed. It's fine. We are probably not that important that Sam Altman wants to look into our chats tomorrow.
Yeah.
Ah, that's interesting.
I mean,
Go on, go on, go on.
there was this huge data breach where you could see someone else's chat GPT history. Like it was
Uh-huh.
very early, like a week after chat GPT was released. It was
Uh-huh.
it was such a big problem and no one spoke about it like after that.
Right, right,
So
right.
stuff like that might also still happen like with every other provider, but we just don't know
Mhm.
it.
Totally, yeah. Oh, every window has Nvidia. What are people saying in the comments? I started working on some idea, but then the pressure of job and switching companies, earning money, it's becoming too much sometime. I understand, bro. Middle class Indians have this problem. Oh, middle class reminds me the NTA debacle.
Oh my god.
Oh, you have just gotten out of those entrance exams and all, na? So
I
tell me,
know,
what's
right?
your what's going on? What are your
So
thoughts?
I thought that my situation was bad with JEE, but I still studied, and luckily we had two exams that, and I gave neither of them because I didn't have to because I came to the US. But all my friends and everyone I
Mhm.
know was like is either going to give, is giving, or has already given JEE or NEET. And even last year, it was kind of, it was not in a great situation because, like, some friends of mine had to do dental, some people had to, like, go into alternate medical fields. And this time, like, let's not talk about the engineering, but, like, the NEET department, like, the exams were not conducted well and nothing. And my friends are like, holy shit, this is going to ruin my life. And
Wow.
it's just so sad. Like literally, they did nothing
Bad.
to deserve that, right?
This is absolutely bad, man.
First,
I
Kabir, you
don't
should like
know.
tell people like what happened.
Right. I think the issue was that a couple of students got the kind of numbers that were simply not possible mathematically, if you think about it, 717 or something like that. So the exam is for 720, and the next score that you can get is 715. You can never get 717, 720, 718, 19. None of those numbers are even possible because it's plus 4 minus 1, right? So if you answer it right, then you get plus 4. And if you even make a single error, then you lose 5 marks, irrespective of how many questions you've answered. You'll lose 5 marks for one wrong answer. So through that, the maximum next number possible is 715. But how did other people, how did some of them got a different number? That is something that NTA has to answer. The other thing is a couple of students from the same place, like literally from the same exam center, got a very high score, 714, 15, something like that. I don't know the number, exact numbers, but something like 7 students was extremely odd. The probabilities simply don't support those kind of numbers. And yeah, that was another issue that happened. And then NDA said they had compensated them because some of the exams started late for whatever reason that was, but that was not done transparently. So a
Like
lot of
some people got like
interesting.
85 marks for free. Like that's crazy, right? Out of
That's
out of 700, you're giving 10% or more than 10% for free.
that's that's very bad. Also sets a very bad precedence, right? So like it just means those who have actually studied hard and really put an effort will probably not get into maybe Ames, Delhi or something like that simply because somebody else has perfect scores. And most of those perfect scores are questionable. If they were not questionable, it was a different thing. But this is
Like
unusual
leave Ames Delhi, leave all of that. Like the
in
biggest
general. Huh?
problem is like the societal issue. Like a normal person who wants to be a doctor, and he had like let's say a 700 score, like an amazing score. Okay,
Yeah, that's a good one. Huh?
and now even that person won't be able to go to any Ames or any good college because like there's 100 people who cheated to go above them, and
Yeah,
the 100 people who cheated will be worse doctors in, and then they would probably like cause medical
yeah,
problems later on. They would not contribute anything to the medical field, and
exactly.
that's how like the entire country goes to shit. Like
That's
education is
exactly. Yeah.
education is like the baseline for everything, and India has like fundamental problems there, honestly.
That this should not have happened, to be honest. And
Okay, Kabir had some internet issue. It looks like. Hello, Kabir. Am I online still? Let's see. YouTube.
Oh yeah. So sorry, so sorry.
Oh wow.
लाइट चली गई.
Damn.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that something that happens often?
No, 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 no. It's just that there's it has rained badly here, and then there's
Right.
some kind of a rework that they're doing with the lines, and my backup also ran out of.
Right. Right on time when we were talking about societal issues in India.
The dark. It symbolizes the dark place that society is in.
They got out of electricity. They don't want us to talk about it.
They don't want us to talk about it. They just want to shut up. Unfortunate. Yeah. So NT was a big issue. Shouldn't have happened. Okay. Came back.
Nice.
Now they were like, I'm sorry, this was not supposed to happen. Right, so that's that. NTA's unfortunate, guys. Fix it, please.
Yeah.
A lot of our nation's future depends on you guys now. And I think, yeah, we should probably wrap up for the day. But then,
Someone just asked
thoughts,
thoughts on
thoughts.
Web3.
What is what? What?
Thoughts on Web3.
What's thoughts on Web3?
Hmm.
You go first. I have some controversial thoughts.
I think it's good tech, but it's not something that you need to slap on everything. It's good tech when you want like decentralized stuff or there's actual need. So like for example, in financial stuff, right? I had a friend who sent me 1 rupee when sitting in Singapore, and I'm in US, and he sent me 1 rupee, and something like that would be like impossible to do without like having the entire Web3 stuff that we have today. So there is really some really good use cases, but it's just used for grifting and it's just used for like bad stuff right now, which is sad. Kabir is stuck again. Yeah.
Yeah. Am I back? Am I back?
Yes, you are.
I'm back.
What's up?
I just switched away from the hotspot to my Wi-Fi. Yeah. So my thoughts on Web3 are more like there are two things, right? Let's talk about the tech first and then talk about what Web3 is promised. The tech is blockchain. Okay. At the very core of it, it is if it is not decentralized, it is just a linked list. It's not beyond that. It's just a very simple data structure. It is not revolutionary in any manner whatsoever. It's very easy to implement. Anybody can implement a simple blockchain. Okay. The real deal with the tech comes from the fact that multiple people have the same copy of this, and then a lot of people have to agree to it. When I say people, it's actually software agreeing to it, but people are running this software. So a lot of the software, which is running its own instance of that blockchain, has to agree to whatever is happening with 99 other people, right? So the true innovation is on that side. How will you be able to synchronize this? And that's it. This is just the same copy stored on hundreds of devices. Therefore, it is more valid as compared to, let's say, the same data structure stored on, let's say, a centralized entity. Then that entity can change it very easily, because changing a blockchain, even if it is like, I don't know, $1 billion, a billion length long, is very easy. It's just very easy. But to do so on a decentralized manner is hard. It's impossible, really impossible.
No, it's not. I'll tell you an interesting thing, right? So the way you explained it made me think of serverless databases. Because
Right.
it's like having read replicas over every cluster, over every node.
Right.
And
Right.
for example, like
Yeah.
there's Neon database store, so there's Cloudflare D1. All these,
That's right, yeah.
what they're doing is like they are basically adding read replicas on every data center they have, like on 100,
Yeah.
200, 300 nodes, and
All the CDNs have
it's the same technology if you think about it.
Yeah, it's the same. Yeah, it's the same. The only difference here is, again, with regard to the read replica, there is a master slave approach going on. So one of them will always dictate what is the kind of data that will go and sit in all of them. In this case, the roles are always thrown around between the miners, right?
Mhm.
Somebody becomes a master. Like, for this lack of better word, master is not the appropriate word, but I'm just using the master word because we are talking about the replicas, right? So somebody becomes a master for a short duration, and then he tells, "This is my truth," and then everybody else, if they agree, then that becomes the new truth.
Right.
This is very simple. This is not even complicated in any manner whatsoever.
Right.
The simple strength comes from the amount of replicas that you have of the chain.
Right.
Right? That's one part of it. The second part of it, which is controversial, is to call it the panacea, like that is the solution for everything, is wrong. It's not. It can solve some set of financial problems, some set of ownership problems, and that's where it stops.
Right.
It can't go beyond those. Maybe anything that can be solved by agreeing, by creating a consensus between hundreds of people. That is the right use case for it.
Right.
But beyond that, don't go ahead and do something stupid and create random, shit coins and don't call it the next big thing. That's
Right.
not going to happen. That's not good. But the tech, again, yeah, this is a very open source driven tech. There's no scope for a business to stand in this place. It is a societal resource that you will have to create. This is going to be a societal resource. No one entity can have control over it simply because the nature of the tech is decentralized.
Yeah.
So no absolute control. Yeah. So don't think of it as a business or a startup. No, that's not going to happen here. Even if you try to wrap it like that, it's not going to happen.
It actually could happen. Like, for example, imagine if Ticketmaster had, so there's some really, really high value tickets, and like
Yeah. The Taylor Swift tickets.
Taylor
and all
Swift,
that, yeah.
like, for example, yeah. And like, what if they give an NFT for every ticket? Like, it would not only be a collectible, but also
The value of the NFT comes from the fact that it is hosted on a blockchain which
Right.
is decentralized.
right,
So yes, you can make a layer 3, maybe a layer on top of the blockchain.
right,
But blockchain as such will always be a distributed resource.
right,
There's no two ways about it. No one entity, you can never build a asynchronous business on top of it.
right,
You can't build a next Facebook on top of it. It's not possible.
right.
Don't
I
think of
agree.
it. If you think like that, it's not going to happen.
I agree.
That's my controversial take on it.
Yeah, but there's a lot of money to as a job in Web3, so you should, like,
Oh, that's
if
But
you're
again, I'm going to tell this once again. It's a very good societal shared open source project. But no matter which startup tries to spearhead it, it won't be where you will make a lot of money.
exactly.
Simply
I
because you might get those tokens, and if you get paid in those tokens and eventually people believe in those tokens, yes, that is the kind of payout you should be looking at. But raw, hard, fiat cash, you're not going to make a lot of fiat cash.
Yeah.
Maybe in the long run. Maybe in the short run, yes. Short run में सब पैसा बनता ही है. Whenever a new tech comes, everybody makes money in the short run.
Yeah.
But in the long run, it's through the tokens, and if you believe in the tokens, go ahead and pursue a career there.
Yeah. I totally
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah. So, I guess great episode. Great
Yep.
episode.
It was a great start.
Great start.
I bet I learned a lot, and everyone watching learned a lot. This video will also be uploaded to YouTube with some cuts in the start, hopefully. So yeah, stay tuned for the next episode. We'll stream the same time every Sunday for an hour. So
Sunday sounds good. Yeah.
see you
For
later.
an hour, we can talk.